655-55, Jacksonville.
Brian's what we expected. He's long, he's fast, he's smart.
Daniels looking downfield. He wants a shot for Brian Thomas into the end zone. Touchdown!
You have to be explosive in this league. You know, it's tough enough being consistently efficient. We want to be able to have that explosive element to us.
Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A crossing route to Christian Kirk. And the Jags have retaken the lead.
Repetition goes a long way, and utilizing that repetition to benefit, your football team. And that's where Trevor's really taken, I think, the next step.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Hey, Dylan, I'm going to try a new one out. You ready for it?
Well, what you got?
You know it!
Oh, yeah, I like that.
You like that? I came
like
up with that myself. I've been working on that one for a while. You know what it is? It's a sign that I'm feeling a little bit better today.
I love that. That's good to hear.
You know what? You love it, buddy. So do I, and so does my wife. Doesn't have to hear me moaning about the house nearly as much. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Jaguars Today rolling into this Wednesday. I would not steal that from the media mogul, Dan Hicken. Are you kidding me? I just would do it in honor of Dan Hicken. You know it. It's interesting, Dylan. Politics are an interesting thing, right? I'm not talking about, like, governmental politics necessarily, but, anything political that you need support behind. It's an interesting game that we play. We all cherry pick what we believe based on some preconceived notions and what we want the outcomes to be. A lot of us do. Most of us do, I think, to some degree or another. So I found it interesting when I got an email from the Jaguars yesterday on the media mailing list, and the subject was statement on UNF poll. And I thought, oh, gosh, here we go again. Are we going to be hearing nationally about this poll that ran, that UNF did, where, people aren't sure if they're in support of the stadium because they don't have all the details and what have you? Remember that poll that came out a few months ago, right, when this was all the rage and, like, PFT made a big statement. Oh, Jacksonville taxpayers don't support, new taxes for the stadium or whatever. Not that they're going to be new taxes, but you get the idea that there was some dissension. And PFT has become, Pro Football Talk, in part has become this group that one of its causes, one of Mike Florio's pet causes, is trying to see if no municipality will ever give another dollar to an NFL owner, right? You shouldn't be doing it. Well, that's easy to say if you're in a market that, like New York, Chicago, Houston,
L.A.
Massive. LA's had their teams leave, which is interesting enough, right? But in general, you're going to print money in those markets with the facility, as long as you've got an up-to-date facility, right? And that was one of the things, and LA's got that now and all that. But, yeah, in general, sure, the bigger ones. But the new UNF poll finds that 56% of the public supports the full stadium renovation deal that's been proposed, as long as it includes the largest community benefits agreement in NFL history, which by itself, if you just took the benefits agreement, 81% are in favor of that. Who are the 19% not in favor of the benefits side of it if you took the stadium out, right? Like, are you just being contrarian at that point? Not that 81% is a low number, right? You can't get 81% approval for practically anything in any walk of life these days. But nevertheless, I just found it interesting that, that one poll came out, and I felt like, oh, and I kind of agreed. It was premature. Not everybody had all the details of what the proposal would look like. Now if you choose to know what the proposal looks like, the information's out there for you. But it is heartening that 56% of the public does support the full stadium renovation deal. And that's not that much over 50%. Hey, it's 56-44, presumably, right? So that's 12 percentage points more in favor. And, again, it comes down to the city council, but this kind of information doesn't hurt when you get, a valid group doing polling and coming down in favor of what you're trying to get passed. So, just another kind of step in the process, step in the right direction, I believe. And certainly as the Jags concluded the opinion portion of the email they sent out, we urge the Jacksonville City Council to approve this once-in-a-generation investment in raising the quality of life for everyone in Duval County without raising taxes. So I'm in concurrence. And again, easy for me as a St. Johns County guy, although it's not a new tax. It extends that half-cent sales tax, whatever the case, man. Let's get this thing done. I just found it interesting seeing that headline, statement on UNF poll. I'm like, oh, boy, damage control come. No, it's not. It's positive this time around. So happy about that. Today, Positivity Wednesday, I think. We got Johnny O swinging by today. I took in everybody's accounts of OTA practice, which was going on yesterday while we were on the air. So we'll have some notes on that. We've got a number of players that some of our staff here at 1010XL were able to catch up with, including Darnell Savage and Tank Bigsby and Antonio Johnson. So we might have time to hear a few of their selected thoughts today, but we'll hear a bunch from Jaguars offensive coordinator Press Taylor on where things stand and what they need to do to take this offense to a higher level, that cliche of the next level. I want to take it maybe 3 levels higher. Is that okay, right? Do we have to settle for whatever the next level is? Sometimes you can accelerate that curve and jump right past some of that stuff. But in general, today, I think kind of a feel-good Wednesday. It doesn't have to be the case for you out there. We hope you're having a great day, except for that guy that was, man, Dylan, I'm telling you, man, it has to be a death wish. I'm going to say, let's say hypothetically I was going 83 on 95 today. I wouldn't do that,
okay,
right?
That's the flow of traffic.
But that kind of the flow of traffic, right? But that would be 13 miles over the speed limit. I wouldn't do that. We all know I wouldn't do that. But let's say I was going 83. Dude on the motorcycle, no helmet. I mean, look, again, I'm not your grandpa, right? I'm not your dad, whatever. Do what you want. But, like, man, just had to be going 102 if he was moving at all. I mean, just zip, like I was standing still and just weaving in and out of the cars. I just, man, I don't know where you got to get to. That's that important. I guess, like, if your boss told you one more time late, you're going to lose your job. I don't know.
It's still not worth it.
Right? Like, not, well, obviously it may be, right? You may get away with it. Chances are, that person, I didn't see him lying by the side of the road, further down the highway, but, you take a big risk in your hands out there. So, hey, you do you, I suppose, to a degree, as long as it doesn't involve a multi-car pileup, please, and causing us all a bunch of pain and suffering to go along with it. So today, Dylan Denmark, we're asking folks what their favorite regular season Jaguars game is that they ever attended in person. Key. Regular season, key. In person. Home or road. Some people wrote and say, hey, I don't get to Jacksonville. I live out of state. That's fine. Wherever you take in your Jaguar games or wherever you had the most memorable, positive experience. Your favorite. What's the favorite game that you have personally attended in the regular season? Got a number of nominees from the 2022 campaign already this morning. So you can submit those today, and you can tell us why. Maybe it was your first game. Maybe it was just the thrill of the events on the field that day. Several people have picked the home opener, right, which was a loss to Houston way back in the day, but it was the beginning of the era of Jaguar football here. So whatever the case may be, share that with us today as we share with you the thoughts of Jaguars offensive coordinator Press Taylor and selected other members of the 90-man roster right now. John Ogier, as we mentioned, coming up in hour 2. If you want to be a part of the program, it's not that difficult. Pick up the phone. You can give us a call at 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines. Talk about anything that is Jaguar-related within reason. We're the determiners of what is reasonable always. 641-1010. Also on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hop in the YouTube virtual studio and give us a thought there in the YouTube chat if you'd like, or head on over to X or Twitter and navigate at MD_1010XL or at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
So what is the Coach Pockets routine now? Are you you done on a hiatus right now?
Just for this week. We got summer workouts Monday,
Football workouts.
Yeah, for football. And then we got a couple of kids on our track team. We're doing AAU. They're doing a track meet this weekend. I'm going to Pennsylvania here in a couple weeks.
Oh,
actually.
you are?
Yeah, for the
Do you
university.
have permission?
I believe so.
Tony to leave? I said, well, now, when you say a couple of weeks, are you talking about like the week after next?
It's June 14th, 15th, that weekend.
Okay, that weekend.
Yeah.
I got you. That'll be like the tail end of my vacation.
Okay.
I think that's Father's Day weekend,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
And it'll be all the way up there in Pennsylvania. I'll have a couple kids go up there, and really that's my only big trip I think I'm going on this weekend. But
That's cool.
Or in the summer.
We were always big. We like to take that summer family vacation, but we've, with my son in college, we're waiting now to do one last big hurrah. I don't quite know why, like the time's like he's a captive audience now. Like, I want to go on one more big one with the trio, my wife and my son and I, and I'm sure we'll get there at some point. But we're thinking about going up to Philadelphia this summer for a little while. My niece lives up in Philadelphia. Have you ever been up there?
No.
Are you going to Philly, or are you just going to Pennsylvania in general?
I believe I'm just going to University of Pennsylvania for the track meet because I don't know how much time I'll have.
Is that the Penn Relays?
Yes, that's correct.
That's huge.
Oh, that's the Mecca.
Oh, I know it. I've heard of the Penn Relays, man.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. All right, well, good for you, man. That's awesome.
So I got to schedule a flight here soon. I haven't done that yet.
You probably don't want to wait too much longer, is my
No.
guess.
Never been on a flight either, by the way. Never been on a plane.
Wait a second.
Never.
Are you serious?
Yeah, for real.
What is the furthest you've ever departed from Jacksonville?
I went on a college trip to Methodist University. That's in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay, so you've driven up to Carolina. Was that like on a bus or something like that?
No, I just went on my mom's Suburban. Took a one-day trip there and back.
One-day trip to Carolina.
Yep. And then I went to Alabama twice, one for an Auburn game, one for a Talladega race.
And that's right up on the border of Florida, so not really going too far. So nothing west of Bama?
Nope.
Nothing north of North Carolina?
Nope.
Pockets.
Yeah, I need to
expand your horizons.
I need
brother.
to explore, man.
That's all right. You know what? You're a young man still. You got plenty of time. When I was your age, now keep in mind this is the dark ages when I was your age, but what are you now, like 24? I guess I'd been on first time I was on a plane was when I moved to Florida from Connecticut, and then that was in 78, and then I think the next time I went on a plane was like 90, something like that, to go to my cousin's wedding up in Brooklyn, which was a huge, debaucherous family affair, which was awesome. Right? And then really until I started getting into like doing touchdown radio with Frank Frangie and Gino Torretta and, covering the Jags for a few seasons, and that'll come into play with my answer to the question of the day. And then, it became commonplace. Like every weekend I was getting on a plane going somewhere. That's interesting, Pockets. I now have I've been to 40 or 41 states in the United States, and that, includes me not having gone to Hawaii and Alaska. Those are 2 of the 10 I haven't been to. So I feel like I've covered a lot of ground. I've made up for lost time. So there's still plenty of time for Dylan Denmark. Very exciting. Who's paying for the ticket?
I believe I am.
You are.
Yeah.
You believe? Then I would definitely get on there sooner rather than later, man.
Yeah, I've seen a cheap flight, but I don't know about, paying like $60, $70. But it's only a 2-hour flight.
What's the airline?
Frontline?
Frontier.
That's
the one, man. That my niece, that's the one she flies. You got to check. There are going to be baggage fees and all that stuff on top of that.
Yeah, I only need one duffel bag, and that's it.
There you go.
I'm not going to be
Frontier. I've flown Frontier a few times going out west, like going to Denver for Jaguar games, and I think I might have flown Frontier going to Seattle.
Yeah, they said the reviews that a couple people dropped was like it's uncomfortable after 2 to 3 hours. And it's a 2-hour flight, so I'm like, I think I'll be all right.
I don't recall. What do? They strap you to like a board, and so you have to lie stiff in your spot. Why does it get uncomfortable?
I don't know if there's no cushion on the seat, or
maybe
I don't know.
I don't recall. I mean, I didn't.
You can't recline your seat. I think that was what one of them said.
Is that right? I remember going on Frontier flight where there were probably 8 people on the plane, and thinking, how can they afford to fly with this few people, right? Like the amount of jet fuel that you're going to burn up. But whatever, man. So, wow. Dylan Denmark, you're going to absolutely have to chronicle this, social media-wise, the whole 9 yards. Dylan's first time above terra firma. Looking forward to the reports from your experience. Are you nervous about flying at all?
No,
you shouldn't be.
No,
you shouldn't be. Flying is super safe.
Yeah, with all the security now, I'm not. I ain't tripping.
Yeah, super safe. We were once on a little small little kind of connector plane, right? That they go between smaller airports, and got some kind of warning. We were right up front, and we got some kind of warning alarm going off, and it said the door is not closed properly. And literally, like, the stewardess, flight attendant, comes out and tries to, like, yank on the door to pull it tight shut. Like, are you kidding me? This is your remedy in flight. I'm just going to yank and hope that the light goes up. That's what it was. We diverted to Jackson, Mississippi, and sat on the ground for a couple extra hours is what turned out. I don't, for all I know, everything was fine, but it was just like a bad sensor or something like that. So fly as early in the day as you possibly can.
Gotcha. For the delays and stuff.
Yeah, you beat you beat a lot of that and whatever. You'll be fine. All right, we'll come back. Let's hear from Press Taylor, Jaguars offensive coordinator. We'll go around the league a little bit later on today, including noting a big wide receiver contract given out in the AFC South just yesterday. And again, as we mentioned, the senior writer from Jaguars.com, Mr. John Ogier, in hour number 2. I'm Mike Dempsey along with Dylan Denmark. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's another Weight Loss Wednesday. Awaken 180 Weight Loss in the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios, where the pros go. He's our high school sports muscle.
Stop calling your arms guns.
Ryan the Hacker Green.
We're going to do something different.
Hacker After Dark.
A little more down to earth.
Right after Rick Ballou. Evenings on 1010XL.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Hi, it's Ben, second generation from Beards Diamonds. Guys, if you're popping the question soon, looking for an anniversary gift, before you buy anywhere, shop Beards. From a half carat to 10 carats, Beards will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at BeardsDiamonds.com.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Honey!
Septic alert! Septic alert! Time for a spring septic clean? Contact Duck Duck Rooter today. Just $5.25 to keep your septic alive. For just $525, Duck Duck Rooter will pump out your septic tank, clean your outlet filter, plus send a plumber to your home to provide drain cleaning to your main sewer line. Call now to book 904-862-6769. DuckDuckRooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Jags fans, the schedule's finally here, and you don't want to miss these matchups. Whether you want to become a season ticket member, catch 3 or more games with a bundle at the bank, or experience the season with Prowl Pass, there's a plan for every fan. Get locked in by going to Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Experience Jaguars game day your way at the bank this fall.
Get ready to swing into the hottest party this summer.
Join First Tee North Florida at the Yards June 13th for the Summer Soiree. We're bringing the spirit of the Pacific Islands to Ponte Vedra with a Hawaiian luau-themed event. Enjoy family-friendly fun, including Hawaiian food trucks, live music, craft cocktails, golf games, raffle prizes, and more. The First Tee Summer Soiree provides the perfect blend of golf, party, and philanthropy. All proceeds benefit the impactful programs of the First Tee. Visit firstteenorthflorida.org/summer soiree to secure your tickets today.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by FIS, is home all week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is 5-Star Good Is Everywhere Wednesday, featuring Project Chance and Mayo Clinic. Tomorrow is Coors Light Thirsty Thursday with beer specials. Then it's Red Shirt Friday with fireworks, and the first 2,000 fans on Saturday get a hip-hop t-shirt. Plus more fireworks. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting! Hey, Hicken here for Zero Res. Like many of you, I love living in Jacksonville, where we have so many families who serve or have served in the military. I'm so grateful for their sacrifice to keep us safe. If you have a family member who is on active duty or is a veteran, now is the time to call Zero Res. Because right now you get a 25% military discount on everything they clean. A thank you for your service. That's 25% off carpet cleaning, tile and grout upholstery, or Oriental rugs. Zero Res, man, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Here we go! On tour across North America, Jane's Addiction. With Love and Rockets. August 27th, Daly's Place. Jane's Addiction. With Love and Rockets. Together Live. On sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com.
No new tale to tell. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
This year, every year, really, but it's very important to know the offense in and out, because at the running back position we can play wherever, flex out, do whatever. So you have to know it. You have to know it like the back of your hand, and I feel like we do a good job of going over it and studying it, and everything's going to be great this year.
That's Tank Bigsby with Rick Ballou yesterday after OTA practice on just having a coaching staff and so cohesiveness for him in back-to-back years. This is going back a long time before he's had that, and certainly that helps you get acclimated to the National Football League, not changing things around every single time. And obviously, a big part of that is your offensive coordinator, the head coach as well, here in Jacksonville. As long as, again, that's kind of the modern thinking. If you are an offensive-oriented club and you've got a defensive-oriented head coach, you better have a pipeline of people who are learning how to coach your system, right? Because your offense coordinator gets that job. Bobby Slowick leaves Houston last year. Who knows what that does to C.J. Stroud's development this year, right? So I'm rooting for Slowick to get a job as soon as possible. Actually, I'm rooting for him to get fired because Houston's so bad that, so I guess that would be priority one. Other than that, let's have them have some upheaval on their staff. Jags had plenty of it on the defensive side, but most of the offensive guys back this year. That includes the OC, Press Taylor, still getting over Dylan's first plane trip coming up here sooner rather than later. So if you've got any advice for a first-time flyer, you can pass that along to us as well. But Dylan, let's get into what Press Taylor was talking about yesterday. You may have heard some of this throughout the course of the afternoon, or you may not have. This may be your primary source of Jaguar info, depending on where and when and how you listen. But either way, we appreciate you being here with us now. Press Taylor, not going to go in chronological order. I try to group these together to make them have a little cohesive sense. But he talked about how this offseason they really wanted to break the offense down to the studs and build it back up.
again, I don't think we tore everything down, but we probably took it to the studs and looked at it from the very beginning of what have we been good at? What have we struggled with? And then trying to be really critical. Why have we struggled with this? Is this something that we've, from the beginning of our building the scheme, the terminology, what we're asking you guys, to what we're putting on game plans, to what we're calling in games? Does all of this make sense? Is it all learnable, digestible? And so trying to be very critical of that, because our goal is to win, not to go 9-8, not to be close, not to be a fringe contender. That's not necessarily the goal. The goal is to win. And so how can we help ourselves get there? And then look at throughout the off season, throughout training camp, how can we see growth in these things? Because there's a lot, like we mentioned earlier, there's just a physicality that you lack through the off season. So if we're asking our guys to be physical, but we can't do it in this time, what are the things that we're going to hold them accountable for and try to get better at through this time?
And keep in mind there, he is not saying this team was lacking in physicality, right? He's saying there's a physicality you lack in the offseason because you're not allowed to be physical. You can't, if you want to implement some stuff, and if you do want your team to be tougher in certain areas, how do you do that? How do you break that down? That's a challenge for every coach around the National Football League. Now you look at it, Dylan, with the talk about rewriting the offseason calendar and what kind of challenges that might bring and compressing really the time on the field a little more on top of itself as you get closer to the season. There's a report yesterday, kind of, I guess, an unsourced kind of report. I guess it's sourced, but like nobody on the record saying this necessarily, if that makes sense, right? That there's really nobody that much in favor of the NFLPA's position on this.
Who would have thought?
Right? It's almost like the NFLPA is coming up with like something that they think is a bargaining chip in their favor for the players because they know the push for the 18-game season is coming. And apparently, the coaches, I think, like having a long spread out period of time where they can kind of keep tabs on guys, quite frankly, right? I as far as the front office goes, I don't know how much it makes a difference to them either way, but the reporting was that nobody front office or coaching wise is behind this, and most of the players are not either. Because what you're going to end up doing is forcing them to come in earlier for training camp than ever. These are still voluntary workouts, and you can get away with maybe missing a day or two here or there, and it's not the most intense stuff. You put them in a training camp environment, and that might change, right? The rules on contact and all that would have to be renegotiated probably as well, but it is a challenge, I think, for any team in today's NFL. It's kind of like, how do you improve tackling if you can't tackle? Well, you got to teach technique and hope it soaks through and take advantage of those live sessions when you're allowed to have them. That's the give and take of collective bargaining in the NFL. You want your players healthy. You want your stars healthy, particularly. Well, sometimes there's going to be some of that. We got to give up something. We got to give up some of the finer points of wrapping guys up on every single play because we're not practicing this enough over and over and over again. You think, well, shouldn't they have it by now? They're professionals. But I keep going back to something Maurice Jones-Drew used to harp on with me all the time. We need time in the preseason, or he needed time. He felt, not everybody did, but he needed time getting the timing down with his offensive linemen, wanted to play in the preseason, wanted to be out there. So, there are only so many opportunities to do that in live kind of reps, and some guys need it or feel like they need it more than others. All right, so what kind of changes might Press Taylor want to make to this offense, or what kind of additions, perhaps, might be a better way to put it? And one thing is that they talked a lot about yesterday, and I think it's no surprise, they want to be a more vertical, explosive, quick strike offense.
That's a big part of it. I mean, you have to be explosive in this league. It's tough enough being consistently efficient. We want to be able to have that explosive element to us. And I think that was something, even if you go back and look at our run game for 2 years probably hasn't been as efficient as we've wanted it to be. But I think even year one in this system, we were explosive. So we were able to kind of counteract that a little bit, where year two, for whatever reason, that kind of fell off for us. And so that's something in the run game definitely that we're looking at to improve upon, but also in the pass game. Give guys opportunity to catch it on the move, making sure we're attacking all aspects of the field and all aspects of the defense.
Last year was, I think, for a variety of reasons. Zay Jones missed a lot of time. I mean, Zay is not always been this huge yards per catch guy, but he does have the speed that you have to at least respect. and he'd get a few shots taken to him. And then you miss Christian Kirk, and you had guys in and out of the lineup. Calvin Ridley had some issues with drops on some deep balls. Do they have the pieces here? That was what Press Taylor was asked yesterday. When you look at this wide receiver core, are the elements in place to be more vertically explosive?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously having Brian's length and speed is a big thing. That was obviously a strength of his throughout his college career with the numbers and all that. And then something Gabe has always brought. And you're not going to be a super high pass completion percentage if you're pushing the ball way down the field. And that's something we feel like we've done a good job when we've called the play action stuff. We've been particularly explosive when you look at our numbers in terms of concepts that we've called and opportunities to push the ball. We've done a good job with that. And also Evan and Christian from the inside, working inside out, being able to get matched up on safeties at times, depending on the principles of the coverage, however that works. But we do feel like we have the people that we're able to push the ball down the field. We just got to be able to get the opportunities to do that, and we got to call those types of plays throughout the course of games.
Nothing beats quick strike offense, right? Sometimes it's turned around, in Jaguar history, 90 yards. We all know it can come in different ways. Travis Etienne could be a component in this as well. But to put the fear in defensive coordinators, it's one thing to have a back who is going to break the line of scrimmage and bust one, right? But that's not going to make defensive coordinators back their players off, right? That's actually going to bring them up. Now, maybe that can work to the receiver's advantage, but if you get Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis in the first month of the season, get 2-3 quick strike touchdowns. 40-plus yard over-the-top touchdowns between them. That's going to send a signal. You better be prepared for this every time you face this team. And hopefully that makes the job of Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram and everybody else that much easier working the underneath. So, Ridley gone, Zay Jones gone, enter Thomas and Davis. Does losing two of your top three wide receivers from last year kind of make you start from scratch as you build this passing game back up?
Yeah, we always try to. That's kind of always the phase. You teach it through phase one. You get a chance to do it in phase two where it's just us on air, and now we're into phase three. Now there's a little bit of competition where there's a defense across from you. You're having to adjust to things on the fly, potentially post-snap. So I don't know if it's necessarily changed in terms of how we've done this throughout the course of 3 years, but we're certainly pleased with where these guys are. It's obviously tough. Gabe's coming off an injury, new to the system. You get Brian inserted at the end of phase two, trying to get into a system, so they're still probably early on through their understanding the installs and things like that, as opposed to year one where most of our guys were free agents. We're here from the very, very beginning of this thing to hit the ground running.
One thing you've heard from this coaching staff, Dylan, is that Brian Thomas is a smart guy, right? Not just physically gifted, but he can absorb it pretty well as well, which is very important because he's going to get force-fed everything, as much as he can handle from day one, and it's great that he's out there working. And look, we get it. He's running against air, right? But there's still timing. There's still the feel of how does Trevor Lawrence throw the football? You know what I mean? Like does it have a little extra pepper on it from what I'm used to catching? Or are there times when he takes a little something off or whatever the case may be? How does he like me to flash? Am I taking one unnecessary step here on this route? Are we having that kind of communication? You can iron some of that stuff out. Anyway, last one here before we hit the break for Press Taylor. Just what has he seen from the Jaguars' first-round pick, Brian Thomas Jr.?
Brian's done a great job. Brian's what we expected. He's long, he's fast, he's smart. And so those things have shown up just early on of getting him involved. He's spending a lot of meeting time with Chad and being around Christian, being around Gabe, who not necessarily knows our system but knows the NFL and what things are going to look like. I think it's been really good for him. You see obviously the intelligence and the quick twitch and the long speed show up throughout our practices right now as we go through things or even routes on air. He grows every single day. He's a guy that's very easy to communicate with just because he is intelligent. Things come naturally to him. Football, I think, comes naturally to him of just learning, picturing concepts, understanding routes, how we're attacking certain coverages. So you see his growth every single day, which is fun to see.
It is fun to see. I get, it's fun to hear about, I guess, from our perspective here. And I love to hear, he mentioned it several times in that answer right there, just how smart he thinks Brian Thomas is, how he's able to absorb and process information. It's not just show up and be the best athlete on the block. kind of league, man. There's a lot of detail that goes into maximizing your potential. Sounds like Brian Thomas Jr. is certainly capable of handling all the detail that they throw at him. So, hey, it was number 5 yesterday in my top 5 on-field, I guess, concerns. Will Brian Thomas Jr. immediately establish himself as a guy that looks like he's deserving of being a surefire first-round pick, right? I'm not saying he has to be a 1,500-yard guy as a rookie. Great if he is. But does he look the part, right? You'll know. It's kind of more of an eyeball test. It's not a pure numbers test for me. That was number 5 in our Tuesday top 5. Today's question of the day, simply, what's your favorite Jacksonville Jaguars regular season game that you attended in person? Can be a home or away game. We'll spend some time in hour 2 looking at some of your recollections and weigh in with ours as well. More from Press Taylor coming up on the other side. You can be a part of it at 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. This is Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. A Weight Loss Wednesday. Every day could be a weight loss day with Awaken 180. Maybe you let yourself go a little bit. It's easy to do, right? You get a little bit older. It's tougher to keep those pounds off, constant exercise, watching your waistline, man. Awaken 180 says, the heck with all that. We're going to teach you how to lose weight by eating the right way. How frequently, what to eat, when to eat, all these things are going to turn your body into a fat-burning machine, and they've had tremendous success. Over 21,000 customers for Awaken 180 with an over 98% satisfaction rating. You can count me in that 98% with a big thumbs up. 844-346-1800 will get you on board. Not only lose the weight with Awaken 180, but the promise of keeping it off for life with free support and coaching for life once you hit your goal weight. That's been the phase I've been in all the way since last October, and I've had great success keeping that weight off. Again, 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180 Weight Loss, or schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
I think we're ready for a tournament.
We are so flippin' good.
Attention Googans, come drive, drop, and dink with the drill Friday, June 14th.
That's our first tournament.
At the Fruit Cove Recreation Club. Cash prizes, free swag, beginner's clinic, and Jeff E.T. and I in an exhibition match?
It looks so easy.
Go to thefruitcove.com and click on the 1010 flyer. To sign up your men's, women's, or mixed team, that's thefruitcove.com.
We are so good at pickleball.
Sponsored by good friends at Injury Care Centers and Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors.
Maybe you've got plumbing problems, like toilets that won't flush, or there's not enough pressure, or you get clogs and stoppage too often.
Ew!
There's several potential causes, and some can't be detected easily. So before it becomes a disaster, call Roland Reich Plumbing. They can send a special video camera down through the lines, since they don't have a small little man, to find the root of the problem, which could be tree roots. Don't guess. Hire Roland Reich Plumbing at plumbingjacksonville.com.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll and lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We've all seen great overtime games and thrilling finishes, but when it comes to having a big time, knowing when to say when is key. Budweiser reminds you to win the day and night by designating a driver. That's a victory every time.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Kuhn Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Kuhn Flowers.
See the world through the eyes of a linebacker.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tom McManus joins Jaguars Today every Friday morning.
Period.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains from May 24th through June 3rd. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Attention skilled electricians, are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Nothing quite as exciting as watching the virtual studio, huh? See me sitting here, sometimes looking off. You can assume I'm looking at E.T. walking by the window. At least I was there a second ago. Or maybe Dylan. You look like you're wearing teal today, Dylan. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, from what your teal and my blue, it looks different.
My teal looks almost green, and your blue looks kind of tealish. Right? I was not chastised, but you see the new golf cart that FanCam bought?
Yes, I saw you post that.
Right? I mean,
sick.
It's not really teal, but it's kind of, I'm sure it was the closest thing to teal that they had.
Yeah, it'll pass.
When he got it. So, FanCam is kind of like the mayor of the island out there. I don't want to limit him just to Ponte Vedra. He's all the way up to Fernandina. Everywhere, he's just anywhere, east of the ditch. He's running things out there. You got to go by sometime. We should do a show from his house, honestly, because he built, Dylan, a replica 17th island hole, right? It's, I don't know what the scale is, like 1/6 scale or something like that. But he says if you play it with a wiffle ball, you'd play basically the same club that you would play if you played Sawgrass. I mean, he's got the whole thing, the bulkhead, everything built up, the little tee box. It's crazy right there in the front yard. Island Green. We should do that sometime. Go out.
I'm about it. Let's just not do it in the middle of the day where it's like 134 degrees outside.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk up a remote here where we get you out of the studio. I don't know if I'd be all that, particular about the temperature. But
yeah, I'm just playing.
You do you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to being out of the sun. It don't matter to me.
I know you're hale and hearty and young, man. You can do anything. 641-1010 if you want to get in, and let's see what Kyrie in Virginia has on his mind before we get back to more Press Taylor audio coming your way out of OTAs. Kyrie, good morning. You're on Jaguars Today.
Hey, good morning. How you doing this morning?
All right. What's up?
Hey, I just had a question for you. But before I give you the question, I was wondering because I look at this offseason, and when you think about our team, the Jaguars, of the last couple of years, our problem hasn't been moving the ball. What's been our biggest problem? Red zone, offense. And the reason why is because in the trenches, on the offensive line, we are not blocking good enough. And ETN he's a great running back, don't get me wrong, but he's not built to run in between, which is why the team keeps talking about Tank Bigsby, because they know if he can get that production that he had in college, that would help solve that issue. But my question to you is, do you think that we improved enough on the offensive line for the team to improve this year? Because I think that's the only way we can take the next step.
All right, thank you, Kyrie. I mean, I asked that very question yesterday. Dylan, in our Tuesday top 5. There's no way of knowing if they've done enough, right? You could sit there, they've only changed one guy. We've been through this, I wouldn't say a million times, but pushing 5 figures, I think, at this point now, right? Like Cam Robinson played half a season last year. Is he going to be healthy this year? Right? Ezra Cleveland came here, played about half a season. Wasn't really 100% healthy. Is he a different player now that he's healthy? Mitch Morse obviously is a literal different player. So Anton Harrison going to improve, take a significant step forward from year 1 to year 2. It happens for a lot of guys. What does Brandon Sheriff have left? I don't know, right? Have they done enough? Time's going to tell. I think depth-wise, they're probably in as advantageous a position as any team in the National Football League. That doesn't mean their frontline guys are as good. Like, I wouldn't say their starting 5 is the best offensive line in the league, but when you look and they have potentially 4 viable tackles, not many teams have that. They've got an intriguing player in Cooper Hodges. Intriguing because he's never done anything, but they like his athletic profile and they hope he can turn into something. That's more probably a developmental year for him getting on the field for the first time and pushing for a starting job in 2025. So, yeah, that's going to be a question that we all have. They feel like they have addressed it. Have they addressed it enough? Time's going to tell, right? Do I think they've done enough? I'm hopeful. Right? Would I have added more? Yeah, I would have. I mean, I'm not going to say that they took the wrong path. I would have taken a different path. And, to me, sitting there, at 17, Troy Falatanu was super attractive. Like, I get the desire to have Brian Thomas Jr. on the team. You got to give something to get something, right? The Jags maybe could have got a good receiver in the second round. Then you don't have Mason Smith, and who knows what Mason Smith is going to turn into. By the way, Jarian Jones had some pretty good praise. A couple of pass breakups yesterday. Said he was all over the place. Saw John Shipley's OTA write-up. He was out there and said Jones definitely looks the part. So that's good. But again, I'm not trying to, put your question off. I don't know the answer to it. I'm hopeful, but that was one of my biggest concerns yesterday. My, top 5, I think that was number 2 or 3 at the worst. Have they done enough to fortify the offensive line and get some of that push in short yardage that they were lacking last year? Let's get Travis in West Palm wants to weigh in on the question of the day. Good morning, Travis. You're on Jaguars Today.
Morning, Mike. Glad you're feeling better, buddy.
Thank you, man.
I love this question, man, because my favorite regular season game was 2022, Week 17 against the Titans.
Mm.
I drove up from West Palm with my son, his first ever Jaguar game. He's been a Jag fan his entire life, but never been to a game. And first of all, the experience, all the Jags fans, when they found out that it was his first game, was second to none. I mean, the city is awesome. I love it there. But when Josh Allen got that scoop and scored to secure the game, to see the look on his face and everybody around us in our section, the whole city, the stadium, the atmosphere was, I mean, there was no price I wouldn't have paid, I should say, to have that moment at that time with my son to cap off a great season and then to get the win the next week. So just want to chime in. Love you guys. Love the show.
I appreciate it, Travis. Thank you very much. And you are not alone. Very interesting. I mean, look, it's all comes down to personal preference, right? And I know a lot of the people, even some of the ones who've submitted that game as their favorite that they've ever attended, have been Jaguar fans for a long, long time. And you had a lot of elements going into that one, right? You had division title on the line. You had the comeback nature of the season, the comeback nature of that particular victory. You had the hated Tennessee Titans, that you did it at their expense, and you went into the playoffs, and that catapulted you into one of the most memorable playoff games that you'll ever see in National Football League history. But the way they ended that season, that capped off just a thrilling run in the regular season. So you're not alone in the 2022 regular season finale being your favorite one that you've ever attended. Appreciate you calling in. Let's get our young lady, Regina, in Mandarin up next. Hello, Regina. How are you?
Thanks. And good to have you back.
Thank you.
Enjoy this show immensely. Yesterday, the whole time you were talking about the health of all these players, but I wanted to bring up an interesting point that I've noticed. You know, last year the game seemed to speed up for Trevor. So what are they doing mentally? It's almost like they need a psychologist. Slow the game down for him mentally. The poise that's necessary at the end. I know they've got veterans coming in now, but what does that mean? And I'll take your comments off the air. It's because and I'm going to make an analogy. The Celtics swept. I love the Celtics too. But they slowed the game down. They were doing 3-point, the whole thing is the poise necessary. And I just didn't see that Trevor had that poise, maybe because he was sick, his injuries. But it seems like the whole team needs to have more of that mental kind of poise and toughness. And I'm glad you're back. You sound good.
Thank you, Regina. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Right up until I found out Regina was a Celtics fan, I thought she might be flawless, but I guess there's drawbacks to everybody, Regina. That's your own cross to bear. All right. Look, I think Trevor Lawrence has shown, when we go back to 2022, I thought he showed a lot of clutch, right? A lot of fourth quarter performances, a lot of look, he buried the team in the playoff game against the Chargers, but he dug him out of the hole at the same time. So I think he has shown some of that, and I don't know if you can judge anything down the last 5 or 6 games of the year in terms of his performance compared to what you can come to expect on a given day. But because of the injuries, right? And I'm not trying to make excuses. This is the reality. The more you play, the more you're in these type situations, the more you're going to perform. Trevor Lawrence has a track record of coming up big, in a lot of settings. He's never lost much until he's gotten to the National Football League. So I do think he has that kind of makeup in him. And I think the more you have veteran pieces around you and you get a little bit older, again, he's 24 years old. He's very young by NFL standards. He's like Michael Penix's age. And Penix is going to sit for the next year or two in Atlanta, right? So I think he's shown that to some degree. Has he shown it in every situation? No, he's not Joe Montana yet. I hope he becomes that guy one day, in terms of always cool under pressure. Some of that is, are you getting the protection that you need to execute the offense? Are your guys making the plays? Are they running the right routes? Are they catching the ball? Are you, I think Trevor Lawrence, his ball security issues hasn't been necessarily a crunch time thing. It's been an all the time thing, right? So I don't know if I roll that into it. I just think that the simplest answer, Regina, is the more he plays and the more he gets in those situations, the better he's going to be in those situations. And I do think, in my opinion, that is one thing that I think he's had over most, not all, but most Jaguar quarterbacks, is that kind of unflappable belief and talent that matches the belief. You can't just have the belief and not have the ability. He's got the ability, and he believes that, within reason, they're never out of a game. And I think 2022 kind of showed you that with some of the wins that they had. Now the question is, can you get to the point where you don't need those kind of things? Nothing wrong with scoring an extra 14 in the first half, so we don't need clutch fourth-quarter comebacks. Easy, park it in the garage and coast to victory wins are fine. In fact, they're often preferable in the NFL. But anyway, Regina, we love you. Celtics thing. We'll have to talk about that. All right, Byron in Gainesville, next one up. Good morning, Byron.
Love this show, guys, and let me get my
Duval. What up, Byron?
On a real tip, man, I've been listening to you for 3 years. Shout out to Tony, too, on vacation. But, man, we missed you. Pray for you and love you, man. And whatever that is, I hope I don't have it, but thank God.
It'll be all right, Byron. I don't deserve it, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So what's on your mind today?
And real quick, shout out to Regina. Al Horford, but I ain't going to say no more. And real quick, guys, I've been listening to some of the calls and just kind of trying to say where the last few callers were going. I think last year you guys been harping on this. We could have hit a field goal in Cincinnati. We could have probably made an interception, caught a pass, and that was 3 wins. It's not like we have a bad team. I think, as the coach was saying earlier, I don't remember who it was, the voice, but we just need to coach up better. We need to get Bigsby running better, routes better, just 1 or 2 turnovers or breaks, and that's the NFL. So I say this again. I don't think Bulky has anything to do with it this year. I think the team is there. I think the coaching staff, if they can get the best out of them, the Jags will be in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Go Jags!
Thank you, Byron. Appreciate it. See, I know Byron is a Gator fan, so he's already got a mark against him, but he's such a good guy. I can't help but like him anyway, Dylan. But look, here's the thing. I was actually thinking about this yesterday, okay? In 2022, they had such a string of comeback victories, right? They had the same record at 9-8. And you could make the argument, even with the collapse, that last year's 9-8 was so much more solid, right? I mean, the 8-3, there wasn't much flukish about that. I'm not saying that they won the games in 2022, right? But, I mean, they came up big in every fourth-quarter situation, or the other team didn't come up big in those situations, and the Jags were able to capitalize seemingly every time. And they kind of maxed it out by getting those 9 wins, right? And with obviously a hope that that's a springboard to much bigger things. See, I felt like the opposite last year. You get to 8-3. They didn't max it out. They got to 8-3, and it was like, all right, we're going to get this thing to 12, and it's going to be just like, that's how good we are. This business as usual. And then the injuries piled up, and look, the lack of performance, whatever you want to say, and they kind of fell off. But getting to that 8-win mark, it was almost like, ho-hum, okay, yeah, we're pretty good. We've arrived to a certain level. So I'm hopeful this year that if they can stay healthy with their key guys, that let's have a ho-hum 10, 11-win season, right? We don't need to be this aerial circus in the fourth quarter pulling out all the stops to scrape out a division title. That's fine if that's the way it goes. We'll take the division title, but I think this team is good enough to get to a higher win plateau without making it look as difficult. Now, is that enough to win the division? Time will tell. You can't control that completely either. All right, we can control the fact that John Ogier is standing just off to my left right now, and he's going to take his seat and join me for the second hour of Jaguars Today. That's coming up. More from Press Taylor in hour 2 as well with Dylan Denmark. I'm Mike Dempsey. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today from the JOI Studios. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
That's a fascinating little gadget. It's going to replace CDs soon, so I'll have to buy the White Album again.
What is this? It's a 1010XL.
The past is past, the future's now.
There's a name you can trust when it comes to servicing your AC system. Bold City Heating and Air, a family-owned Jacksonville company focused only on the local community. And since the extreme summer temperatures are almost here, schedule your summer maintenance today with Bold City Heating and Air. Don't be fooled by the out-of-towners, equity firms, and national corporations that use local names. Trust the AC company born in the Bold City. That's boldcityac.com.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheap or discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and summer fun. That means it can be any time, whenever there's warm weather out, to go enjoy the off-roads with a Honda ride. Now, this is a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler.
That's right. Honda's got a great line of two-wheel products, and of course, their side-by-sides and ATVs, which are legendary and a ton of fun to get out with your family and friends.
I tell everybody, you can pretty much load up and go anywhere and find fun with one of those.
Absolutely.
Honda, with their beautiful off-road lineup, two wheels and four wheels. Check them out on the showroom floor, Atlantic near Regency, or online, cyclesofjacksonville.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Hey, sports fans, it's Ace Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Are mosquitoes turning your outdoor fun into a full contact sport? Time to call in Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, they are the MVPs of mosquito elimination. See for yourself. Call Kingfish Pest Control today and get an unbeatable 50% off your first treatment. That's right, sign up for a full season of lockdown coverage and get 50% off your first treatment. Don't let mosquitoes steal your home field advantage. Reclaim your yard with Kingfish Pest Control.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Day 4 of Jags OTAs wrapped up yesterday afternoon, and Trevor Lawrence continues to show growth. Going into his final contract year, head coach Doug Peterson spoke on how Lawrence has been looking and where he believes he has improved.
Decision making, ball's coming out of his hand faster, quicker decisions, all that part of it, accuracy, the timing, things of that nature. And again, just the dialogue we're having out there as maybe CJ and Mac are taking their rep. He's back there talking to myself, or press, Mike, and just always engaging, and that's what you want to see out of a young quarterback.
The Jumbo Shrimp started their 6-game series against Durham with a bang, taking last night's game 8-3. The Shrimp and Durham will get back at it tonight for Game 2 at 7:05. It's 87 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Osher. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
Push that company line real good, Mr. Jaguars.com guy.
Hey.
It's your theme song.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
How are you, John Osher?
Good. I'm good. It's May, about to turn June.
It is about to turn June.
It's getting closer, and heard awful news the other day. The NFLPA is pushing to lengthen training camp and move OTAs.
Yeah.
That's
and apparently nobody wants it. Like, that's the rumor. Like, not even the players want it, because the players are like, wait a minute, I don't want a report from mandatory training camp where they can put us in pads at, like, weeks earlier.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I did that in Stevens Point in 95. I don't want to do that again.
Right. I seriously, like,
if they need somebody to advise on what that's like,
I think
me and Baselli can tell them it's bad.
I think the coaches like having the ability to have this contact with them periodically throughout the offseason.
I don't want to sit there and say that this other way wouldn't be better, because it's never been done. It just wouldn't be better for me.
That's what it all comes down to, right?
So, but I don't necessarily see why players would be for it at all. And
I guess the theory is, if you're not having to go to OTAs right now,
sure,
you could be in Cancun for 2 months if you want to. I guess. Do they not have enough Cancun time? You know, like you can go to Cancun. I bet Cancun's pretty nice in February.
It's going to be there year round. Yeah.
Right, and there you have it seems like a big chunk of time, and I guess
most of these players have been playing for a while. Like they have late February. They usually schedule it after the Super Bowl, hoping their team will get there, obviously. And then you've got until mid-March, but you can push it a little beyond. I don't know how much more time is to give them. It would just give them different time.
Right. It would give you a bigger window to be on your own, left to your own devices early in the year.
Now, does this mean they're going to be in pads more during that July? I can't imagine the players pushing for that.
I can't. So, I mean, this whole thing
they're never going to push for more pads.
Training camp was too much, right? So let's spread this out and make these voluntary. Well, we all know the nature of the voluntary, right? The voluntary for a guy like our Josh Allen, sure, it's voluntary.
Right.
$150 million guy. Hope you come back.
Right.
Please come back.
Right.
But, and a guy like Trevor Lawrence understands, man, it's voluntary if I don't want to be my best. You got to be there.
Quarterbacks need to be there, and young players who haven't been around a certain system need to be there.
Now, this is invaluable. Even though you're not going up against a defense that can put their hands on you, I think it's invaluable to have Brian Thomas every pass he catches from Trevor Lawrence.
Rookies and young players. Does Cam Robinson need to be there?
Maybe not.
Mitch Morse, yes. You're coming in, you're learning a new system. Next year, Mitch Morse, do what you need to do.
But if you're learning a new system, okay, even if you've been in the system, we always hear about continuity, timing.
That's for offensive linemen.
That's what I'm saying.
Coaches
though,
would
for
disagree with me,
a Cam Robinson,
right?
Like, is there no benefit to him being there with the five that are supposedly going to start?
Minimal.
Okay.
That's
fine.
I never played, but I've never been around. I mean, most great players outside of Peyton Manning I've been around haven't gone to OTAs. They prepare on their own and go.
Those are great players, though. Yeah. I don't think that fits Cam Robinson.
7-8 year guy, if he knows the scheme.
I'm not saying it would if he missed these OTAs, I'd notice or anything like that.
Yeah, to me, if you're a veteran and you have been around that system and understand it,
then why do you think that guys at that level, like Cam Robinson's spot on the roster, is not going to be dictated by whether he missed this week of OTAs or not?
If he feels like that's what he needs to stay in shape, I'm just saying if they believe there's a better way, like what Josh Allen's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He believes he can focus, he can prepare, do his thing where he's doing it. And
see, I think a lot of them might believe that, but they don't have like Josh Allen getting $150 million.
He believes that. He also has the financial wherewithal to go.
He has he knows his position. You can talk about there's no depth chart, Ryan Nielsen. There's somewhat of a depth chart, right? I'm pretty sure
they're going to pencil in.
Foye Oluokun is penciled in as your middle linebacker. Yeah. Josh probably has a pretty good chance to start on this team, I would think. Yeah. So, he is in a different category than most on this football
Open competition,
Mike. Hey, fine, right? BS. Right. It's not really open competition. There's nothing Trevis Gibson could do this offseason that could have him open the season as a starter.
Have to be a hell of an offseason.
I mean, there's nothing he could do.
No.
There's no offseason he could have.
No.
Now, would you get him on the field quickly if he has like 6 sacks in 3 preseason games? The hell yeah, you would, right? It'd be a big part of your rotation, but he's not supplanting him. But anyway, had a chance to be out there a little bit yesterday, right? What caught your eye?
Caps. They were in baseball caps.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that Trevor looked sharp. Brian Thomas looked fast. Beyond that, they were in baseball caps.
I got you.
It was very, very low key. So honestly, not much caught my eye about that. They look faster, bigger, all the things that you expect them to look. But to try to draw much from yesterday was maybe the lowest key OTA I've ever seen.
Heard Jarian Jones had a couple nice pass breakups yesterday. So, that's about all. You're going to see the ball and quarterback, wide receiver, right? The skill guys.
And Christian Kirk had a nice catch in the back of the end zone.
Was it a catch?
What's that?
Was it a catch? That was the debate, wasn't it? Yesterday. Was it? Was it not?
To me, in OTAs,
it's all a catch.
It's all a catch. He had his cap knocked off. So it looked like Tank Bigsby has looked okay. To me, he's looked fast in the first couple of times I've seen him. But it's no pads. And
should he be the one guy that we withhold commenting on all offseason? I mean, he was the star of the offseason last year, right?
Sure. I mean,
you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, I don't.
That was what I noticed in a capped practice. That's what I had to comment on.
I gotcha. So, I'm just as in the larger picture. Though,
yeah,
with
that's
Tank,
fair.
It's like I think we think he's a talented guy. What do you think happened last year? Was it a confidence, like from himself and the coaching staff, little ball security issue early, and then?
Yeah, I think human nature as a coach is, you tell yourself during the week you want to play a guy. You tell yourself all week you want to play a guy, and then when games are close, and it's 3rd and 2, and you're up by 4, your job and the game's on the line. It's hard not to go with Travis Etienne in that situation because he's your best runner. So I think you want to. I don't think it means you don't like Tank. I think it means that, man, it's the NFL and we've got – and this one play matters a whole lot. I don't want to win or lose this game without Travis Etienne on the field. So I think it was more that feeling than it was anti-Tank.
Hearing a lot about Devin Lloyd looking like he is, winning the off-season workout competition. Right? Did you notice? Was it noticeable to you?
To me, more last week.
Okay.
Looks good. He's going to look good. He's a big physical guy. He looks like he knows what he looks like he's reacting fast to things. In the couple of times I've watched him, which I don't know, I don't know if I would notice if he was reacting slow, but he looks good. To me, he's a huge story because I think it's one of the top 2 or 3 things that Ryan Nielsen and his staff need to do is, quote, unlock Devin Lloyd and figure out a way for him to be more effective. So I think he's a huge training camp storyline. I can't sit here, and honestly tell you, boy, I've seen these things during a capped workout that make me think he's going to be great. But I think it's a mammoth storyline, and you would think a change in defensive scheme. I haven't asked Doug this or Ryan Nielsen. Ryan Nielsen's on the Ozone podcast this week, so I'll ask him this week. What are your thoughts? I would think Doug probably when he was interviewing said, "What?
How are you going to use this guy?
This guy's a first-round pick with a lot of talent,
right? Trade up into the first round.
Well, and not only spent the 3 picks, but unlike Calevon, for example, who was here and never really showed very much, Devin Lloyd showed flashes of being really, really good. When he's around the ball, makes plays, has a knack for it, just has had a tendency at times to run himself out of position. Well, is that a matter of making things simpler? Is that a matter of what? I would think it's been a huge conversation.
Yeah, I talked about this with Frank Frangie a little bit yesterday. We focus so much on who are the free agents you signed, who are the rookies you signed, the new additions to the team. But who are the guys that are most likely the strongest candidates for internal improvement, like Lloyd?
Most good teams usually improve more that way.
Ezra Cleveland, right, came here all banged up.
Right.
Still a young guy. You get him fresh, 100% healthy. If Ventrell Miller can contribute this year. I mean, there are
Strange,
you have
Bigsby.
You have areas where you can get contributions from guys that are already here that either you're not counting on or just didn't simply get last year for whatever reason.
And Antonio Johnson, probably not fair to put him in that because he was hurt and then played.
But I think I think
same
that's
sort of deal.
Sure.
So, I've always believed that's the best way to improve because it means you're improving from within and you're drafting and developing. So that's what they need.
We'll hear a couple of thoughts from Antonio Johnson before we get out of here today. We'll get back on the Press Taylor audio, talking about the growth he has seen from Trevor Lawrence and some other issues. Talked a lot about the passing game in hour number 1, particularly the desire to get vertical and quick strike down the field. John Ozier's here. Dylan Denmark's here. I'm Mike Dempsey. You can get on board at 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today. What is your favorite Jaguars regular season game that you attended in person, home or road, whatever one that happens to be, and let us know why that is, and hit us up in any of our many ways, including on social media. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Jeff Prosser.
He's smart, witty, dynamic, vicious, brutal, vindictive. A monster.
Mornings from 6 to 10.
I know he's the most competitive man in the world, but this beats them all.
On 1010XL.
Coverage and analysis of the 2024 off-season workouts on 1010XL is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the highest wind and impact ratings available? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
Whether you're in need of a simple AC repair or it's time to upgrade your HVAC system, Duck Duck Air Conditioning is here to help. Give us a call today to schedule an estimate, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com.
He was the best back in Jacksonville.
It has to be Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill Monday mornings at 8:30.
A tough guy.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and B&B Fuel and Lubricants.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
Friday on The Frangie Show. Tune in for the House Call segment brought to you by Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Rehab. Join the discussion as a JOI expert tells you about total knee replacements. JOI, where the pros go.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332, go to flyskylife.com, and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Open early and open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies Cold Case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case, plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona, to the King of Beers, to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I have some exciting news from Leonard Truck Accessories and Trailers in Jacksonville. A brand new location on Beach Boulevard will be opening soon. Stop by the grand opening on Friday, June 28th, and put your name in for a chance to win a brand new loaded golf cart. Leonard Truck Accessories. Your truck, your style.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jaguars today on 1010XL.
He was just saying, like, just being able to be in different positions, really, like, focus on the safety spot, but able to just play dime and nickel, like, that's how I fit into the defense. DB. I don't have a set, but honestly, I would say DB, though, for real. Being able to play multiple positions, I feel like that's what make me. So I wouldn't want to, like, categorize myself as one. You know what I'm saying?
Antonio Johnson reminded me of that guy in We're the Millers. Know what I'm saying?
Know what I'm saying?
Eyebrows. You ever see the outtakes? I just watched that movie like a week ago. You ever see We're the Millers?
I did not.
Oh, it's
We're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
They said Rhythm Millers. Like
no,
it was
We're
some sort of
the
dancing
Millers.
Movie.
Rhythm Millers.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of could come off that way. Anyway, this reminded me of that one
Good
character.
movie, yeah.
It was a pretty funny movie. But Antonio Johnson sees himself as a defensive back, but he specifically said nickel or dime as well, right? What do you see? How do you see this secondary O-lining? Like opening snap of the season, John.
I think it'll depend on situation, meaning
let's say you're in base, you're not in nickel, you're just in base defense.
If in the rare situation they use a 4-3-4, I would think that it's Antonio and Cisco.
Cisco are your safeties,
and with Savage as the nickel. That's a guess right now because I'm not sure they know yet. I do think there's some legitimacy to they're trying those guys and trying to figure out what fits where. But that's would be my thought right now.
And Campbell and Darby as your two outside guys?
Yes.
Hayes said about a month ago, and I brought this up from time to time, he thinks Jarian Jones is going to take that spot.
Outside nickel?
Yeah,
I mean,
outside
corner?
Like,
I don't think he's going to do this year.
It's interesting because I could see a scenario, if he plays well enough, where, like you said, you're not going to be in the 4-3-4 all the time.
I don't think either of those two guys are nickel corners.
No, but my point being, when you got two corners on the field, he's on the outside. Nickel, he moves inside, and you bring Darby on the field. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I could see that, but
where
I'd be surprised if that happens as a rookie. That's a lot to throw on a rookie, but we'll see.
We'll see. If you're good enough, you're good enough. Then they got to start getting that kind of level of production out of some third-round picks. You know what I mean? We'll see. I'm not projecting Hayes, because he's out there as much as you are.
Sure.
And I think that stuck with me, that prediction or characterization. So we'll see. Let's see. Got the question of the day out there asking you what's your favorite regular season game, home or away, that you've ever attended. You can weigh in on that, and then we'll get back to Press Taylor weighing in on Trevor Lawrence and the offensive line as well. That's straight ahead. Let's get a couple of calls in here with Justin on the north side. Next up on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Justin.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing today?
We're okay. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So my favorite game was back it was 2004. I was bartending at the Regency Ale House.
Okay.
And that was the year when Fred Doss, I guess Mike Doss got the best of Fred Taylor one game or their prior matchup, and he was talking smack. And then Fred said he was going to run him over next time. So before that game, I was bartending at Regency Ale House. Fred came in, and I told him, I said, look, this drink is on me, but you got to run Doss over. And he said, all right. And so bought him the drink, went to the game Sunday, and sure enough did.
Well, there you go. I'm going to have to ask Fred for confirmation of that. If it was that drink, what was in that drink that made him be able to run over Mike Doss? But Justin hit us up on the text line.
A kombucha, maybe.
We were talking, maybe it was. I don't know. But he said only time he had ever served him that he recalled. And he goes, I want to talk about this on the air. And we're like,
okay,
call in. You're there you go, Justin. Thank you for doing that. That's exactly what we're talking about today. For whatever reason, that would be a good one. If you saw Fred Taylor, and it's kind of like, hey, Paul O'Neill, can you hit me 2 home runs? Right?
Yeah.
Like the kid on Seinfeld. Right. Not 1, but 2.
2 home runs. No, it's hard.
2 home runs.
I have my own on that story, which was the Colts Jags 2003. I think
okay.
It was Jack's first season. I had covered Fred 98, 99, 2000, and I was anybody who's covered Fred likes him a great deal. Great guy. So I'd also seen up close how good he was. And I'm standing at Doss's locker that week. I had moved to Indy. I'm standing at Doss's locker, and the Colts were getting good. And Doss had made a play early in the season, something along the lines of recovered a fumble by Fred in the first game and taunted a little bit, and then he sort of ran his mouth a little bit. And it's a mob by the locker. You've been at him. There's 5 or 6 people talking to him. And he started talking, and being with the Colts at the time, it was preferable to me that they won, just like it's preferable to me that the Jaguars win. So I've got my notebook in hand, and I'm kind of in the back, and I hear this, and I'm like, ooh.
Probably not the thing to say.
Yeah, and
don't poke the bear.
Yeah, I cringed a little bit, and so it's a rainy day on Sunday. They're playing at Everbank, obviously, and even though at the time my allegiances were to the Colts, when Fred broke it and turned back, I kind of
you're getting what's coming to you.
I smile. I mean,
right.
I smile because I like. Fred's one of the guys when you cover him early in your career. You develop an affinity for him. I'm not sure if I talked to him after that game, but it was a memorable moment, and I do remember when Doss opened his mouth, thinking, "There's different levels of players."
Yeah, that might come back to get you.
Yeah, because Doss,
Justin may be serving up a free drink to Fred.
Well,
week, and you got to be.
Had
careful.
I known that,
then you would have warned him.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know if I attribute Justin's influence to Fred running over Doss, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
That's his story, and he's sticking to it.
Del Rio had on Jack Del Rio the week of the draft. Who you drafting, Jack? Who do you want me to draft? Matt Jones. So blame me if you want, because then they did it, right?
Okay,
and he's like, "Oh, we'll see." And I mean, we played before we knew. we got a lot of life out of that promo, man. Yeah. And with the whatever pick it was. And the other one, we had MJD and I had Aaron Rodgers on the Running with MJD show on Sirius once. And we're like, Aaron, this is pre-ayahuasca days. What's up with your Michael Finley? You remember he's on the team, right? Swear to you, that weekend, he threw Finley 3 touchdowns. And he might have scored 4 like the whole year. Yeah, but and I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but we took full credit for that, man. We're just like, remember when we had Aaron on and we told him, AR, got to get Finley the ball. We were living good. All right, let's get Steve in Melbourne up next. Steve, you're on Jaguars Today. What's up?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're well. What's up, man?
To answer the question today, I've been to quite a few Jags games, but nothing more memorable than that comeback in the playoff game, especially having some Charger fans.
Steve. Question of the day. What is your favorite regular season game that you've ever attended?
Regular season. Then I guess it would also, I was the week before at the Titans.
All right. There you go. Thank you. All right. Well, he had a good 2-week run then, right? He had his greatest regular season game followed by his favorite all-time game that he ever attended, which is fine. You're not the only one who's mentioned that game. That's why we made it in big, bold letters, regular season.
You know what? It's still his favorite regular season
game. That's okay.
Even if it was the postseason.
That's okay. All right. But I felt like I let him down easy there. All right. Let's get back a couple of thoughts from Press Taylor. I want to get to his thoughts on Trevor and the offensive line before we get out of here today. And, go to Jaguars.com. You can watch these full interviews every single day. We try to pull some selected quotes out for you, but you can see them in the context and in the flow of which are asked, so definitely do that. But what kind of growth has he seen, or what has shown up, what kind of evidence for growth from Trevor Lawrence this offseason?
just that full-on ownership of our system. I mean, he understands, too, what we're trying to accomplish in the offseason and putting in plays. So he understands we're putting in our schemes. We're in install 4 now. The defense is in install 4. These plays aren't aligned to we're attacking a certain coverage. So you're seeing a little bit of growth of he's quick to find a check down. He's quick to move on in a progression because this isn't the coverage this is built for. So you see a little bit of that. And then you see the way he communicates with the guys around him. Hey, I need you at this depth, at this spot, on this timing because I'm getting to you as the 4th read or the 3rd read or the 1st read. So I need a little bit more. So just, it's kind of trying to get him to take over more and more and more, and I think that's coming naturally for him. Partially year 3 in the system, year 4 in the NFL, just working with young guys around him. Understanding what communication each guy needs is a big part of playing quarterback.
All right, understanding they're in baseball caps, but can you see this, John, as you're out there? You're not out there. You're only, one OTA a week
Sure.
is open. You're not seeing that much of Trevor, but is there anything noticeable about the way he is carrying himself or leading by voice or example?
Yeah, I mean, you do see what they're talking about. I was Doug or Press who said it, but when the backups are in, Trevor's over to the side talking to receivers. It's hard to know how insightful those conversations are when you're not hearing them, but you see them take place. He seems to be quick with his release and throwing with accuracy, carrying himself with confidence. He seems to be, he looks the part in this situation. So you're seeing everything you can see in this situation. How well it translates once things go live, we'll see. But what you don't want to see this time of year is sort of the same thing with the rookie camp, right? You don't want to see things that stand out as,
oh, we got to fix that.
Yeah, nails on a chalkboard. So everything looks fine. It's hard realistically for us when you don't know the play to know, oh, boy, that was a terrific read. They look good.
Terrific read against no defensive backs.
Well, yeah, so that's sort of the challenge. But you almost have to trust when Doug and Press are talking about this. If they're seeing quicker ownership, it's sort of like if you're a teacher in a class and a kid all of a sudden seems like he gets it and he's participating in class. Oh, well, that kid's growing up or he's coming along. That's what coaches want to see this time of year. I think when he said full ownership of the offense, my ears perked up a little bit and said, okay, that's what you want to hear this time of year.
Right. Then you're starting to say, hey, I like this. I don't like this. Let's tweak it. Then you can become kind of an extension of the offensive coordinator to some degree.
And then when you have that full ownership, you're going to the line, and in that 15 seconds, you're not thinking, how do I get to this third receiver? You just know that you're going to get there because it's instinctive now. It's the way it's been explained to me. It can only be explained like when you're learning Spanish, and then all of a sudden you're dreaming Spanish.
My wife. I try to teach my wife the golf swing. Right. Yeah. Here's what you want to feel. Here's what you want to feel. And then, all right, now address the ball. Forget all that. Now swing.
Same
right? Like it's right. Like you want to know the pieces, the building blocks of anything, and then you want to get to the point where you don't have to even think about it. Yeah, and it's true
if
for
he has
anything.
that sort of full ownership and the coaches are seeing that, you've repped it 3 or 4 years now. It's where you should be.
Well, like you said, you have to take it from the coaches that they're seeing what they want to see. You're really not going to know because Trevor Lawrence can complete every pass this all season. It's not going to matter if he misses a key one in the fourth quarter, week 1, right? So our first caller today said, have they done enough on the offensive line? I said, keep asking it.
Yeah.
That is a valid question. It was a valid question yesterday. It will continue to be, maybe.
It's a valid question. Has Trevor fixed the turnovers? I don't know.
Don't know, right?
But, yes, great storyline. You're in. All you can tell a reader or a questioner that you're on it.
Yes, that is one of the concerns. And
that's where
here's what they've done. Is that enough? I don't know.
Right.
I can't tell you that, I'm not going to sit here and go, well, they didn't do it exactly by my blueprint, therefore it's wrong.
Right.
There's many ways to build a competitive winning roster. So speaking of the offensive line, Press Taylor was doing that yesterday. So when we come back after this break, we'll hear his thoughts on how things are shaping up, the addition of Mitch Morse and a few other odds and ends. And then we'll weigh in with our favorite regular season Jaguar game that we ever attended. Mike Dempsey, John Ogier, Dylan Denmark here with you. Fat Tony is on assignment. It's a beautiful thing. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helping you over the hump. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Weight Loss Wednesday continues from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
The home of Jaguars fans.
Follow every play, interview, and press conference.
Duval came out, supported us, and that's what we need.
1010XL, the home of Jaguars fans.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph is such a beautiful ride. But, Greg, you're telling me that there's a price point that's going to invite even more potential buyers.
There is. There's 2 new models, both of them under $6,000, one of them under $5,000. Great motorcycle, same Triumph quality and design. You got to come see it.
And it still's that big bike underneath you.
It is. It's a good-looking bike and all Triumph.
You can log on cyclesofjacksonville.com or visit the showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner. With honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Are you ready to help lock down the bank in 2024? Don't miss a single moment when quarterback Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars take on some of the biggest names in the NFL. Become a season ticket member now to get access to exclusive experiences, events, and player appearances all season long. Lock in your seats for 2024 now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at Everbank Stadium.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right, Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit DreamfindersHomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
When you hear a great call on 1010XL,
telephone communique.
It's covered by the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
If you'd like any further information, just call me.
Listen for great phone interviews all day on the All-Pro Roofing phone line on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Hicken here. May is Healthy Vision Month, folks, so it's time to put your eye health front and center. If you haven't had a comprehensive dilated eye exam in a while, now's the perfect time to schedule one with Bowden Eye. A comprehensive dilated eye exam is the best way to check for common eye problems, even if you haven't noticed any symptoms. Detect signs of eye diseases like glaucoma, diabetic eye disease, and age-related macular degeneration. Call or visit BowdenEye.com to schedule your consultation. Bowden Eye & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Oh noes.
With Jaguars.com's John Osher.
Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
All right, as Dylan Denmark reminds me, it's time now to take a quick look around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, gems around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
All right, got a few odds and ends for you. The Houston Texans and wide receiver Nico Collins agree to a new 3-year, $72.5 million extension that includes $52 million guaranteed. That deal has a max value of $75 million, so potentially $25 million a year for Nico Collins, now one of the 10 highest paid receivers in the NFL. His per-year average is nearly $24.2 million, 7th among all wide receivers. Keeping in mind they're paying pretty good money for Stephon Diggs this year as well, though they shortened his contract. He's only under contract for the remainder of this season. New Orleans Saints, let's see how close I can get to this one. Defensive end Tano Hasanya. That's what the pronunciation guide tells me. Suffered a torn Achilles this offseason. It was announced by head coach Dennis Allen. Hassanwa totaled 3.5 sacks in 17 games last year for the Saints. He'll miss at least the start of the regular season, but Allen said he could return potentially at some point during the year. Drake May got his rookie contract done with the Patriots. The team announced a 4-year deal worth $36.6 million, fully guaranteed. That includes $23.4 million in signing bonus, plus the standard 5th-year option. May was the 3rd overall pick in last month's NFL draft. Imagine now, the last massive bonus paid out was Sam Bradford, number 1 pick. Right. He got a $50 million signing bonus, right? That was, now we're going back 15?
10.
10?
It had been 2010 because wouldn't it have been the year before the CBA?
Okay, about 14 years ago, right? He got $50 million as the number 1 guy. Now, granted, Drake May was the 3rd overall pick, but $23 million 14 years later, they got that a little bit more under control. I mean, if they didn't, you'd be giving out a $100 million bonus to somebody right now.
At least.
To sign, right? As a top guy.
Yeah, somebody actually asked me in the Ozone a few weeks back about that, and it's been not everything they try works, but that worked.
Last one here, Rams quarterback Stetson Bennett back at practice. He missed his rookie year. He didn't go into detail about why, but he said it fell in the mental health category. Bennett, of course, was a 4th-round pick out of Georgia. He was placed on the non-football injury list last September, so good luck to him as he makes his return or really, I guess, debut, so to speak, for the National Football League. Speaking of the bonus structure, last night I got on to might have been on TNT, a story about Yasiel Puig, right? Okay. When he left Cuba and the Wild West it was. Because if you entered the States, you'd be subject to the amateur draft. And then any team could draft you, and then there's like a slotted system of what you're going to get paid. But what they did back then was they smuggled the guys out of Cuba, and then they got residency in some other country, in his case, Mexico. So now he is a Mexican national.
Okay.
And he is not subject to the amateur draft. They became free agents. And the whole shady thing, where basically got this guy who wanted to represent him, said, hey, I will get you out of Cuba. You owe me 20% of your contract. Okay? But, hey, they said Yasiel Puig's highest he ever earned in a month in Cuba was about $20. or something like
Right.
20, or maybe might have been $20 a week, but that he never had a $100 bill to his name, right? Like maybe he made $100 a month, something like that. So he's like 20% of whatever, so 80% of whatever is still a lot of money. So the guy says, "Okay, I'm going to get you out." So he goes to, who would you go to? I don't know, a human trafficker, perhaps, right? I mean, who else is going to traffic a human out of Cuba?
That would
You would think a human trafficker would be the skill set you're
Yeah.
looking for. So he goes to the human trafficker. Goes, give you $250,000 if you can get him out and get him to Mexico or wherever the case may be. Okay. So all this is blowing up at the time, and guys are starting to, defect from Cuba and getting these big contracts. And so they get him out. The boat, he's on a boat, like a speedboat, runs out of gas in the middle of whatever body of water they're in. I don't know. And he's like, he's like 20 years old. You're in the middle, you're like wondering, did I make the right choice here? Was Cuba actually the better choice?
Was this the right trafficker?
So the guy gets him out, gets him right. Did I pick the right trafficker? Right. So they get someone to refuel the boat, come out. He gets him to wherever. Now he goes, "Hey, need my $250K." Guy's like, "Yeah, I don't have that. I might have overpromised." Guy's like, "Well, if you want Yasiel Puig in any kind of shape to actually earn you some of that 20%, like we will hurt him. We'll break him up, to where we'll tear his ligaments up and he'll never be able to play ball." And okay, we got him out. Eventually, they got like other agents into the hey, basically, if you could pay $250,000, you could be Yasiel Puig's representative. Right. Yasiel Puig doesn't have a whole lot of say in this, right? Like this whole thing. And some of the agents were like, "Man, this is crazy." I know we're getting far afield here from the NFL, but just the whole salary structure and the bonus structure just reminding me of this really interesting show. If you get a chance to come across it, I think it was on TNT, but and he was such a knucklehead. And they said he basically had the mentality of like a 12-year-old, and he was in the big leagues.
Sounds like he's been through some stuff.
He was right. So they're like, on the one hand, but a lot of the other guys defected from Cuba, and didn't act as immaturely as he did as well. So anyway, but it was really an interesting program. So put all that aside. I just went down, the little off-ramp mentally. Let's get back to a little bit of Press Taylor, then we'll wrap up with the question of the day. Okay, here's Press talking about what kind of competition he sees fostering on the offensive line.
Right now, it's kind of just we're trying to create an identity of who we envision ourselves being within the scheme. It's a little tougher to have position battles right now when things aren't very physical, because that's obviously an element that we value, or we'd like to value even more moving forward as an offensive unit. So that's something that's kind of taken out of the offseason program a little bit. So right now you're looking for understanding, you're looking for the details, you're looking for some urgency, but that physical piece is kind of the element that misses throughout the offseason that we're trying to kind of take our time with as we move forward. And you'll get a little bit more preview of that through training camp, obviously preseason games, as these things continue on.
John, projected starting five. I think everyone would have projected. Cam Robinson at left tackle, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse, Brandon Sheriff, Anton Harrison. Right?
Yeah, it's about as etched in stone as it can be.
As it can. If one were to not open the season, not due to injury or suspension or anything, if one of them were to get beat out, is there a guy who could get beat out? Like Mitch Morse is not going to get beat out.
Not without injury.
Right? Not without injury. Yeah. No way.
No.
Walker Little could not overtake Cam Robinson.
You didn't bring Cam back with his cap number.
I understand.
For him not to start.
All right. I tend to agree with you, but they always talk about competition.
Oh, they'll talk about it.
Right. Talk about it. But like I said, you didn't pay Ezra Cleveland that money to put him on the bench.
Right.
You didn't pay Mitch Morse that money to put him on the bench. I don't believe they're going to bench a 5-time Pro Bowler in Brandon Sheriff for like a Cooper Hodges who's never played a snap in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, had Cooper Hodges done anything last year?
Correct.
That might be a different scenario.
This year is last year, though, right, for him?
I would think.
Yeah, and with the hope being he's ready to go in 2025, perhaps as your starter walking in. Etched a little bit less in stone. All right, a couple more here from Press Taylor. What has Mitch Morse added to this team from his point of view?
There's definitely that veteran presence of this is a guy that's very confident in who he is, what he's done. You see that show up from the way he handles himself in the huddle to also the meeting room. And that's one of the things. He's not afraid to speak up and ask a question, where some young guys that are new to a system, they're probably going to wait till the meeting ends, go grab a coach on the side. Hey, you said this. What'd you mean by that? Mitch will stop a meeting, make sure he's on the same page of what the coach is expecting, because sometimes you go quickly through these things because you look around, there's a lot of familiar faces in a room. Guys have heard this. Or guys know, okay, he's talking about 2022, week 3, this happened, blah, blah, blah. We kind of gloss over some things where Mitch, hey, what do you mean by this? We'll pull up a clip. We'll all watch it together, make sure we're all speaking the same language. That's the biggest thing, is everybody, football hasn't really changed over the course of many years. But each offense kind of has their own language. How quickly can we get everybody onboarded with our language? What does it sound like for us? When you say this, what does this mean? And make sure we all speak that same language. So Mitch has done a great job of getting himself up to speed with that.
Yeah, some have suggested, John, to me on this show that, all right, you bring Mitch Morse. Brandon Sheriff is who he is. He's not going to be any better. But isn't there something to, hey, if you're Brandon Sheriff and you got a young guy to your left, you might have to take that half second to make sure that, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to give a little help there. Whereas, all right, Mitch Morse, I know he's going to handle his business. I can focus on my assignment. That's got to help to some degree.
What is your continuity overall, your quickness, your reaction? Again, not sort of like what we talked about earlier with the quarterback, not having to think as much, just being able to react and go and trust what's going on beside you. There's no group in the NFL that you hear more talk about cohesion and chemistry if the center and the right guard are more on the same. And the left guard more on the same page. It's got to help the right guard, got to have the right tackle, got to have the left tackle. So all that's cumulative. So yeah, I would think Mitch Morse helps everybody.
All right, last one here from Press Taylor on the O-line, at least last one for today. What does he expect year 2 from Anton Harrison?
Yeah, I think there's a level of confidence that you expect to see from a guy that played the whole season, and just you saw his confidence grow from week 1 through week 18, and just understanding what each week looks like. Because I think that's one of the biggest things, especially for young guys. They're used to their season kind of ends around Thanksgiving. Well, we're in the middle of our season right then. There's a long push. Each week is this new set of challenges. So you face that, you overcome a lot of that, you continue to grow. Now you know what to expect in year 2. So you expect to just see that confidence, walk around with a little bit more swagger, approach each week a little bit, kind of just more understanding what's coming.
All right, so there you go. A lot of the thoughts of Press Taylor. We'll have a little bit left over perhaps for tomorrow from both Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. Demetrius Harvey is knocking on wood. Hopefully he's feeling better as well. Took the day off yesterday, a little under the weather, says he's on the mend and is expected to join me in studio tomorrow for the program. All right, so let's get to today's Chad and Sandy real estate question today. And so many people mention, again, a lot of the regular season games, Baltimore and Tennessee in particular, some with Dallas from the 2022 season. Even longtime Jaguar fans,
Sure.
that season was so thrilling to them. But we asked you today, was your favorite regular season game, home or away, that you ever attended in person? Dylan, let's fire up today's 10-10 take.
10-10.
Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
All right, for me, John, this is a roadie.
Chargers last year.
No. Playoffs. That's good.
Right.
I almost feel like I don't attend games, right? Because sitting in that studio,
it's
a
cave.
Even being in the press box is different.
No doubt.
Like, you feel it, you see it, you ride the energy of the crowd a little bit, even through those windows. So it's a little bit different sitting in the press box, but maybe one that sticks out to me. I don't know. I could go back over time. I was at the home opener all the time. Wasn't at the Morton Anderson game, by the way, because I was at a small station in St. Augustine. We got like 1 or 2 credentials a week, and I'd use them most of the time, but I think somebody wanted, probably Joe Coward. Probably we were both there at the time. At Joe. But either way, I went to a lot of games down the stretch in 96, and the feeling of how loud it was in that stadium is imprinted on my mind. But maybe my favorite one was 2007 on the road in Pittsburgh. They won the regular season. They swept them, but the regular season one, they were up 22-7 at the end of 3. Let me tell you what. The greatest fans in the world, the Steeler fans. We are a legion, blah, blah, blah. You're a legion head of the damn parking lot, I'll tell you that. They were just pouring out of that stadium. It was such a beautiful thing. Steelers actually won the fourth quarter 15-7, but the Jags won it 22-9. It was kind of the year Rasheed Mathis just had the answer for him every single time. And I just loved going into that environment. First time I had ever been to Heinz Field, and watching the Jags just shut Pittsburgh the hell up was amazing.
Yeah.
The other, maybe at home, the Garrard Hail Mary game. That's pretty high on my list as well, just because, like you said, you wanted the Colts to win when you were covering the Colts, right? Sure. Everyone kind of roots for the team they cover. It makes it easier. That game, the Texans media, for whatever reason, you're not doing it, people. They were so just dismissive. Oh, of course we're winning. It was just it just rubbed me the wrong way. And Garrard threw that ball, and Mike Thomas walks in the end zone, and just looking down the road, because I was right at the dividing line between the Jacksonville and the Houston media.
Good too.
Yes.
I remember. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And they just got it just so deflated. For you, what was the one is there one that stands out?
Well,
or one that stands out?
Obviously, I've covered most of the good seasons outside of 05 and 07. I still go back to the one, and maybe it's because I've talked to Fred about it so much, but Tampa 98, his rookie year, there was an energy and a back-and-forth nature to that game. Even though they had great games in the 90s, there weren't that many great back-and-forth high-level games. And that Tampa game, remember, Rydell Anthony for the Bucs scored one early. Fred scored one early where he ran over somebody at the goal line. And then at the end, the 78-yarder that he scored on to beat Tampa Bay. That one always sort of stands out. I know Fred has always told me that's his favorite game.
Yeah, he talked about that on the drill just a few weeks ago.
And that was a special one that probably I look back on that because as you cover games, especially when you're young, sometimes you don't know what you're covering. You don't know what you're seeing.
Right.
Like the Morton Anderson was so obvious, big moment. Tampa, I look back on and say, you don't get to be around that many games. It was a 4:00. The fans were going nuts. It was starting to get gray. There was a scene to it, and I always think about that one.
Yeah, a lot of people mentioned the 2017 Seattle game as well, which was the high point for Blake Bortles to me.
But the readers the listeners who have called that 22 season, you can make an argument that 4 or 5 home games are in the top 10 of all time.
Full of them.
That's what was so amazing about the run. It all came and it happened here.
Dylan, quickly, you got one?
Yeah, my senior year of high school, had a couple buddies. One was a Colts fan when the Jags beat the Colts 51-16. And every time the Jags scored a touchdown, we punched them. So, and the Jags scored 42 points in the second half. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we punched him.
I had left the Colts for 4 or 5 years before that and still had some not great feelings about it. So 51-16 was good.
There you go.
That was great.
All right. Still some not great feelings about it. All right. What do you got coming up over at Jaguars.com?
Well, a Ryan Nielsen Ozone podcast guest this week. Looking forward to it.
Okay. We are as well. So check that out with Johnny O. We thank him for coming in. For Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you all for tuning in today and being a part of the program. Some great feedback. Have some fun, Jaguar fans. Go through my timeline, AdamD_1010XL. And read what your fellow fans are saying. I love that kind of sense of community, everybody bouncing those ideas and memories around. So there's a bunch of them in there. Maybe we'll highlight a few tomorrow that we didn't have time to get to today. Demetrius Harvey's scheduled to join me in studio for the entirety of the show tomorrow. So think about what you want to ask Big Meech, and we'll go cop out on question of the day. The question of the day. Big Meech. That's what ET calls him. Big Meech.
Right,
that's what we've been calling him. Hey, what can I tell you? Big Meech. You want a nickname? We'll come up with a nickname for you. Don't worry about it. All right, that'll do it for us today. Stick around. Helmets and Heels is coming up next for the next 2 hours here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.